Rome is a self-promoter, we all know that. Rome is home to several legendary locations that most cities would give their right arm to have, making it about as impossible to miss an attraction there as it is to locate one anywhere else. The historical and cultural might of the Eternal City is unmatched by most other cities, and Rome's top attractions are truly spectacular. Rome is the ideal destination for a 2-3 day weekend getaway with your partner or family, especially as the city is readily navigable on foot. We have gathered up this list of the top 10 things to do in Rome, along with all the must-see landmarks and attractions to help you organize your trip. Let's get started with number 10, Pinchio. The view of the Vatican at sunset, with the dome of St. Peter's silhouetted in gold, is what makes the Pinchio Garden famous. One of Rome's oldest gardens, the Pinchio, overlooks the Piazza del Popolo and is now a part of the Villa Borghese. The first gardens in this area were built by the Pinchi family in the 4th century. Giuseppe Valadier created the current layout in 1814. The view of the Vatican at dusk, with the dome of St. Peter's silhouetted in gold, is what makes the park famous. Skaters and bikers like using the paved area behind the lookout. The Casina Valadier, now a costly restaurant to die for, is located to the southeast of the Pinchio. Number 9, Piazza di Spagna. The Spanish embassy in the Vatican gave rise to the name Piazza di Spagna, although this square is most famous for the graceful staircase that descends from the Trinita dei Monti church. The Spanish steps were known as the Scalinata di Trinita dei Monti by the English grand tourists. They were sponsored by French ambassador Etienne Gueffier, who believed that the muddy slope leading up to the church, which was constructed with money from a French king, needed to be improved. They were finished in 1725 and could be more appropriately referred to as French. A charming fountain in the shape of a boat called the Barcaccia, created in 1627 by Gian Lorenzo Bernini, and/or his less well-known father Pietro, may be seen at the bottom of the steps. Number 8. Fontana de Trevi. Anita Ekberg made this fountain renowned for more recent generations when she dove in while sporting a strapless black evening gown in Federico Fellini's classic movie La Dolce Vita. Wading, washing, and splashing in fountains are all totally against municipal bylaws, so don't even consider attempting it yourself. You also don't want to drink from it, unlike the grand tourists. The dazzling water of the fountain is full of chlorine and is drawn from the legendary old Aqua Virgin spring, which, according to mythology, was shown to the forces of Agrippa by a virgin. Nobody is sure when the tradition of flinging money into the sea began. Every Monday morning, the fountain is emptied, and the proceeds are donated to the Red Cross. Number 7. Santa Maria in Via. The church or chapel was already there in the 9th century, but it was renovated after hearing of a miracle. With a connection to the neighboring Via Flaminia, Santa Maria in Via, a name that means on the way, is mentioned for the first time in 1165. Drink some of the healing water in the Santa Maria in Via Chapel to perk yourself up. In 1286, the church was erected over a well over which a stone with an image of the Virgin's face floated to the surface. Number 6. Musee Capitolini. The Capitoline Museums, which are located in the identical palaces Palazzo Nuovo and Palazzo dei Conservatori, which are situated on each side of Michelangelo's Piazza del Campidoglio, are home to the oldest public gallery in the whole world. When Pope Sixtus IV gave a collection of ancient sculptures to the Roman populace in 1471, their collection had its start. The collection was expanded by Sixtus's successors with works of ancient art and, subsequently, some significant Renaissance and post-Renaissance paintings. Pope Clement XII ultimately let the public view the full collection in 1734. Despite the annoying lack of labels on many monuments, there is a good audio guide. The Centrale Montemartini also houses a portion of the Musee Capitolini's antique sculpture collection. Number 5. Maxi. The Museum of the Arts of the 21st Century, designed by Anglo-Iraqi architect Zaha Hadid and opened in 2009, features a permanent collection of works by mostly, but not solely, Italian contemporary artists, and presents a changing schedule of exhibitions on artistic and architectural issues. But here, the striking structure itself commands attention. Number 4. Pantheon. Rome's oldest structure with the finest preservation is the Pantheon. It was constructed between AD 119 and AD 128 as a temple for the 12 most important ancestors. The building's straightforward appearance hasn't altered much, and its original Roman bronze doors are still there. The Pantheon's interior proportions, which adhere to Vitruvius's guidelines, are its greatest asset. The hemispherical dome's diameter is equal to the height of the entire structure. It can hold a perfect sphere. The only source of light and a metaphorical bridge connecting the temple and the skies is the oculus, a round aperture 9 meters in diameter located in the center of the dome. Number 3. Musei Vaticani and Cappella Sistina. What would you say to the Pope if you met him? Well, you probably won't, but you can attend his Wednesday morning audience. This general audience will either take place on St. Peter's Square in good weather or the Sala Nervi audience room in bad weather. Join the crowds of Catholic acolytes and the tourists waving their cameras. Following that, you may explore St. Peter's Basilica, gaze in awe at Michelangelo's breathtaking frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, and see the well-known Belvedere Apollo and Laocoon at the Museo Pio Clementino, two of the Vatican museums. Number 2. Foro Romano and Palatino. The Foro Romano, the oldest of Rome's fora, was first utilized as a marshy valley for graves. It was supposedly drained by the Cloaca Maxima, Big Drain, which was designed by Tarquinius Priscus, the 5th king of Rome, in the early 7th century BC. The forum would later become the hub of government ceremonies, business, law, and bureaucracy. Rome's birthplace, the Palatine, is located to the west of the Coliseum. Although you might not accept the legend that Romulus killed his twin brother Remus for trespassing on the Palatine property boundary, archaeological evidence suggests that this location was likely the location of the community that would eventually become Rome. It is believed that one of these 8th century BC houses on top of the hill served as Romulus's dwelling. Remains of a wall close to the forum area have also been discovered. And last but not least, number 1, Coliseum. On the site of a lake that had just been drained in the gardens of Nero's Domus Aurea, Vespasian started construction on the Coliseum in AD 72. The structure, officially known as the Amphitheatrum Flavium, came to be known as the Coliseum, not because it was large, but rather because of a gold-plated enormous statue that stood next to it and is now gone. The arena had a circumference of 500 meters and could hold over 50,000 people. Some scholars believe that crowds at capacity reached 87,000. The arena could be filled or emptied in 10 minutes thanks to a network of vomitoria, which is still the foundational design for stadiums today. There was no greater or more magnificent scene for mass murder anywhere on the globe. When deadly matches were over, expensive, well-trained gladiators were frequently spared, but not the slaves, criminals, and other unfortunates who had been pitted against them. Finally, the video came to an end, and your precious views in the comment section will be welcomed by our team. Like and share the video, and if you are fond of traveling and exploring new places, do subscribe to Travel Advisor.